So why does this shot feel so special, particularly in a trilogy with shots like this?
We should suffer so much fear and doubt over so small a thing.
And this?
Come along, Samwise. Keep up.
Well, we're 133 minutes into the film, and up to this point in the story, we've seen Minas Tirith from a distance,
Minas Tirith, City of Kings.
and we've seen its interior.
Hope is comfortable.
But neither of these shots truly gives us a sense of scale.
The old wisdom born out of the west was forsaken.
But back to the scene, where Faramir and his rangers of Ithilien are fleeing Osgiliath and the Nazgul chasing them on fell beasts, creatures we were introduced to earlier, but now see how dangerous they truly are. And right when all hope seems lost, Gandalf rides to their aid, driving back the beasts with a burst of light. And then, the camera changes. And unlike other scenes where riders on horseback are perfectly framed on Steadicams, here we see... And suddenly, we're on horseback riding with them. This simple trick is why a trilogy as immense in scope as Lord of the Rings feels simultaneously expansive and grounded. Throughout the entire trilogy, we aren't just simply shown locations, we're placed directly into the world. And once you notice it, you start seeing it everywhere.
We wish to stay at the inn. Our business is our own.
In the Fellowship of the Ring, places like Bree aren't introduced all at once. We get an establishing shot, but then the camera drops to the perspective of the characters as we move through the space with them.
Underhill. My name's Underhill.
In the Two Towers, Helm's Deep doesn't appear intimidating at first until the characters stand beside it and on it.
Bar the gate and set a watch on the surround.
The scale is always tied to the characters because Peter Jackson wanted to reveal the scale through perspective before a character simply told us how big it is.
Its outer wall is solid rock, but for a small culvert at its base.
All people need for scale is a reference to something of a different size, and that gives you your scale.
But this scene does something different. It doesn't slow down to show us the scale. Instead, it reveals it while in motion, and in order to place us in the scene, that means the camera has to be moving too. And this motion is one of the main reasons this scene in particular stands out, because there's two things happening at once. The riders rush past the camera in the foreground, while the mountains and Minas Tirith barely move in the distance. And that difference in movement is the key to the whole scene. The foreground movement creates a sense of depth, and the separation of movement between the still background immediately tells the audience exactly how deep this space is, letting us know that Minas Tirith is far away, but still massive in the frame. It creates a parallax effect, which happens when objects at different distances move at different speeds relative to the camera. It's an effect used to create depth, and in this case, make the world feel three-dimensional. And to enhance that realism even further, it's one of the very few uses of shaky cam in the trilogy, perfectly capturing the feeling of riding on horseback and placing us physically and emotionally into the scene. This scene may not have any major story implications, but I can think of no other moment that makes the films feel so visceral and realistic.
It's a bog! He's led us into a swamp!
I never wanted to do a video on Lord of the Rings, because if this 4.5-minute video for an 8-second scene is any indication, no matter how long it was, it wouldn't be enough.
He arrives precisely when he means to.
I'm Luke.
What did you call me?
Thanks for watching.
The age of men is over.